Hi, welcome to Indie Production Source, Episode 5. My name is Charles Stewart Jr.
And I'm Kelly Nealon, and if this is your first time joining us, Indie Production Source is a show that encompasses everything to do with independent video production.
And I want to say thank you for watching, and also thank you for your comments and suggestions you guys have been sending in. We are working on a limited budget, so it might take us a little while to implement them, but we do hear you, and we will do our best to incorporate them into the show. Thanks to everyone that's been subscribing to the show. If you can, go to iTunes, if you have iTunes, and look in the search bar and type in Indie Production Source and subscribe to the show there, because the more face time we get on that, the bigger the show can be, and that just opens up a lot of options for the show to get better and focus it more to what you guys want. So, thanks.
Yes, but let me tell you the easier way to do that. Go to ipsource.tv, you click on subscribe. There's a little iTunes icon.
Yeah, there's a button.
And it's the best way to do it. So ipsource.tv. And let's get started with our fresh find.
For this week's Fresh Find, I want to talk about the software called MPEG Streamclip. This is basically a powerful video converter, editor, and player. And it kind of handles, what I like about it is, well, mainly it's free, and it also accepts a wide variety of formats in, and it outputs to a wide variety of formats. This comes in really handy when you are outputting your project and you have different deliverables that you need to do. Like, if you're uploading to the web, you need to have it encoded a certain way. So like with this show, if we wanted to do a simple, QuickTime version, an MPEG-4 version, an iPod version, and stuff like that. Of course, Final Cut does all that as well, but this gives you a lot more options in it. So I want to deliver the show, I can import it into MPEG Streamclip and then choose the formats and just keep it on there and just let it render out different formats. This is highly useful if you're an indie filmmaker, because it can get real confusing sometimes with all these different settings, and of course it has presets, so you can say, I want it to go for Apple TV. It'll conform it to that output specification, and then it gives you the ability to tweak and edit as you go along there. So it's great. You can set in and out points in your videos. So let's say you're bringing in a film and you just wanted to show a scene of it into your editing program. Well, if you have the film on file, you can select an in and an out point, and instead of rendering the whole film out, it'll just pull that section that you've selected in. And then like I said, you can choose which format you want it to bring into. And it can also do streaming stuff. So like, let's say there's a YouTube video you'd like to incorporate into your project. You can enter the URL and it'll pull it right off of YouTube, and again, choose whatever option you want it imported in as. And also, it's available on Mac and Windows. So you're not limited to, which operating system you're using. This also helps if you've got two people on different editing systems. You can encode and re-encode it and trans-encode it to different, formats, so it's compatible for everybody. And it handles HD, which is kind of a big thing, especially since HD is starting to become prevalent everywhere. So you definitely want something that's powerful enough to handle that. And again, Final Cut can do it, but not everyone's using Final Cut. You could be editing on iMovie. So this just gives you more options with that. And the biggest thing of all, it's free, like I said before. If you'd like to know more about it, you can find it at squared5.com. And that's it for this week's Fresh Find. If you've got a fresh find for me, you can email me at ipsource.tv@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to put it into the show. And that's it for this week's Fresh Find.
That's a cool program. I like the fact that it's not just PC based; it's also get it for your Mac. And
yeah, I mean, it helps you out. Like, I know we're Mac based, and we've worked with people that are that use Premiere, Adobe Premiere, and if you use Adobe Premiere, that edits with AVI files, and Final Cut edits with QuickTime files. So you get in this crazy world where if you're trying to do another project with someone else that is using Premiere, it gets a little crazy. So this kind of helps bridge that gap and work with other files and transcode them to help you with other editing systems. That and its output features are like insane. So
yeah, definitely cool feature with the custom settings, so you can output to your iPod, iPhone, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and Final Cut does that too, and so does QuickTime Pro. But they kind of lock it out, so you can't really make any changes. And this lets you go in and play with the settings and tweak them out if you want to. So that's, I mean, for a free program, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out.
Okay, and with that being said, next is the plug.
All right, for this week's plug, we're featuring The Fourth Dimension. This film explores the dark and lonely world between dreams and reality. It's an examination into a genius's mind who obsesses to solve the complexity of time. Let's take a look.
Jack, you've got to stop wasting your time on this.
I'm not wasting my time.
Jack, take this home.
What is it?
It's therapy.
I need you to promise me that you're going to work hard in school and leave my diagnosis to my doctors. You can get a scholarship, go to a big university, and then you can get paid to work on your theories because you're going to be so great.
It's broken. Fix it for me. You have to return it now.
You haven't done anything to it, have you? This clock is very important to me.
Are you going to fix it?
Time is measured from nothing but an imaginary clock.
The Fourth Dimension was shot in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and its surrounding areas in a span of 26 days. The movie was also shot on 16mm film with a budget of $110,000. This movie is being distributed through TLA Releasing. And for more information on The Fourth Dimension, check out www.fourthdmovie.com. And if you want to pick up the DVD, you can find it on that website, also along with Hollywood Video, Netflix, Amazon.com. So check out fourthdmovie.com.
Well, definitely that looked cool. It's an interesting trailer. I mean, and how much did you say the budget was?
110
Wow, and they shot that on film?
on film.
Wow. Now that's, they're brave. I admire them for that because I know with processing fees and film costs, that had to cut into their budget big time. So, I mean.
Yeah. Well, especially now with digital and everything's been cheaper with the cameras and whatnot, digital's been the way to go for this level of, filming. But it's cool to see people still using film at the independent level, and it's paying off for that look that you want. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Oh, I mean,
cool people are still doing it.
It looked great. I mean, they definitely got what they were going for with that, and they got a distribution deal out of the whole thing, so it was a good gamble.
Yeah, that's what really matters.
So, with that being said, our very first episode, we did an interview with Bo Buckley about a film he produced called Dismal, and at the same time, we got an interview with Gary King, who was the director of Dismal, and this is that interview. What made you get into this business?
I would say I just love filmmaking. I love film in general. Just growing up as a kid, I always paid attention to the behind-the-scenes aspects of what made a film work. Growing up watching from Star Wars to Raiders of the Lost Ark on TV back then, back in the day, they had specials about how they directed, how they made movie magic happen. And I always particularly enjoyed those type of shows, finding out how they made it happen. So just growing up, paid attention to it, and finally just wanted to start trying it myself.
Well, how did you actually get started? Like, what was the next step past that?
I would say I kind of got stuck in the corporate world for a little bit. Went through the traditional, like, get a degree in something else, filmmaking's too risky.